I was actually thinking about it, I said casually when someone asked who's next at my sister's baby shower. My mom burst out laughing. Please don't. My husband smiled in agreement. I didn't say anything, just got up and left the next morning. I woke up to 57 missed calls. My name is Nina. I'm 35, married, no kids. Depending on who you ask in my family, that either makes me selfish, unlucky, or the smart one who knows better. I'm not sure which version they actually believe. Maybe all of them. Maybe it changes depending on the day and the audience. My younger sister Haley is the kind of person who plans her pregnant. See announcement like a movie trailer, matching outfits, professional photos, a caption that says Baby J coming this spring in looping script with strategically placed fairy lights. She's 4 years younger than me, but somehow always seemed to be a dozen steps ahead, at least in the ways that counted. To my mom, the baby shower was last Saturday. At our parents' house. Naturally, I got there early to help set up. I had bought ribbon, brought the extra table from our garage, and hand-cut all the little pink signs for the dessert table. My name wasn't on the invitation, but that didn't matter. I showed up with lemon bars and tape, and that's always been my place in this family, the helper now. The center, not the star, just the one who filled the gaps. Haley showed up 30 minutes late wearing a white maternity dress and ballet flats, and the room broke into applause. My mom made a fuss, pulling out a chair, fluffing a throw pillow behind her back like she was royalty. Meanwhile, I was still rearranging bottled water in a cooler, because apparently the fun and job includes catering. That's the name they use for me, sometimes fun. And it's always been a little jab, the implication being not the serious one. Not the one with a plan, just someone whose life is entertaining in a mildly concerning way. Mark, my husband, was in the corner near the fireplace screw, bowling on his phone. He didn't even look up when I walked past him 3 times. That's sort of our dynamic. He doesn't step in unless I ask directly, and even then it depends on the tone. I was standing by the veggie tray trying to keep my Spanx from rolling when Haley's best friend Bree kept her hands and said, "Okay, one last game. Guess who's next?" I should have seen it coming. All eyes turned to me. I smiled, tried to keep it easy, natural. I was actually thinking about it. I said lightly, casually, just enough truth to sting if it landed wrong. And it did. My mom burst out laughing, a full-on, open-mouthed, breathless laugh like I had just told the best joke of the day. "Please don't," she said, loud, cheerful, like she thought she was doing me a favor. Haley snorted into her plastic champagne glass, pre-giggled. Marquis smiled. Not the kind of smile you'd use to soften the blow, the kind that said, "Yeah, that tracks." I stood there for a second, my mouth half open, as if maybe I'd imagined it, maybe I'd misheard. But no one backpedaled, no one said, "Hey, that's not fair," or "Come on guys." They just moved on. Someone made a joke about Haley having twins. Someone else called dibs on holding the baby first. I didn't cry. I didn't race my voice. I didn't knock over the stupid banner that said "Oh baby" in glitter letters. I just put my paper plate down, picked up my bag, and walked out the front door. No one stopped me, no one even called after me. I drove in silence. I didn't have a plan. I didn't even have a jacket, just keys in my hand and a knot in my throat that wouldn't untangle. I ended up at Dana's. She's a friend I've had since college. She's seen me through breakups, job changes, awkward bangs. When I texted her, "Are you home?" she didn't ask why, she just said, "Come in, I'll leave the door unlocked." She met me in the hallway with a blanket and half leftover pizza. We sat on her couch in sweatpants watching old sitcoms. She didn't push me to talk. He didn't need to that night. I slept on her pull-out couch under a weighted blanket with her cat curled up near my feet. I woke up to the buzz of my phone vibrating against the for 57 missed calls. It from my mom's, ick from Haley, 3 from Bree, the rest of from Mark. The family group chat was going off too. I didn't even open it. I just stared at the numbers on my screen, one after another, like a scroll of names I was supposed to care about, but not one of them said "I'm sorry," not one. And that was the moment I realized something I hadn't let myself admit before. This wasn't new. This wasn't a one-time misstep or an awkward joke that landed wrong. This was who they were. This was how they saw me. And the only thing that had changed was that this time I didn't stay to be part of the punchline. I left, and for the first time I didn't feel guilty about it, not yet as. Anyway, I didn't open any of the missed calls that morning. I just stared at the list of names, all in a neat row like a guest list for a party I never agreed to attend. My mom had texted, "Can we talk?" No apology, no explanation, just the usual expectation that I'd be the one to make things okay. Mark had owned Only sent for words, can we fix this? I didn't reply. Instead, I pulled the blanket up to my chin and just stared at the ceiling of Dana's spare room, which had tiny glow-in-the-dark stars from when her niece used to sleep there. I remember thinking how strange it was that I'd helped put those stars up years ago, and now here I was curled under the same seal. And like a broken version of my younger self, I felt blank, not devastated, not angry, just empty until the memory started coming. Not have the baby shower that was still too fresh, too sharp. I started remembering other moments, smaller ones, moments I'd pushed to the back of my mind because they didn't count, because I was taught not to make a fuss, like the time I got a nosebleed in 4th grade. And my aunt said Nina always finds a way to make everything about her. Or when I made honor roll in high school and my mom said, well, it's not like she's got anything else going on. Or when I slipped on black ice during winter break and Haley told our cousins, the meanest, the only person who can make gravity feel secondhand embarrassment. They all laughed. And I laughed too, because what else was I supposed to do? It was easier to be and on the joke than to be the punchline. That's how I learned to survive in my family. They made fun of you. It meant you were still part of the group. The worst thing was silence, being left out, being ignored, so I kept laughing even when it's done, even when it left bruises I couldn't explain. I think that's why I married Mark. It hit me that morning like someone opened a window in my head and let the truth, and all at once. I didn't marry him because he was kind. I married him because he felt familiar, because he teased me the way my family did, because I thought that's what love looked like. And the really messed up part, I was proud of that. Once I remember introducing him to my parents and my mom saying he's got your sense of humor, like it was a compliment. I remember Mark joking that night, guess I passed the sarcasm test. We both laughed. I felt seen. I didn't realize I was being evaluated for my tolerance. Dana was in the kitchen making eggs when I walked in. I must have looked off because she didn't say anything, just poured me coffee and handed over the sugar like it was medicine. You okay? She asked. Finally, I nodded, then shook my head. I think I married my family. He gave me a look. That's not ideal. I mean it. I said, the way they treat me, the way he treats me. It's the same language, just different dialects. She leaned back against the counter. You ever say that out loud before? No, I said. I didn't even know I felt it until right now. I sat at the table and opened my phone, not to check texts, just to open a new note. I titled it Why I Left. And I started writing, not just about the baby shower that was the trigger, sure. But it wasn't the rut, it was years of things in accumulation. A long, slow erosion of dignity chipped away one joke at a time. Thanksgiving 2018. Mark tells everyone I burn water. 2019. Mom says she hopes any baby I have gets Mark's brain and her patience. 2020. Haley makes a slideshow for Dad's birthday. I'm in 2 photos, both with my eyes closed. 2020. One. Mark and my dad joking at dinner that I'm the difficult one. 2022. Family game night. Mark mimics my voice during charades. Everyone guesses Nina. 2023. My own birthday. Mark gives me a card that says you're still not pregnant, but at least you're fun. I had laughed at all of it. I wrote that down too. I laughed every time because I thought it was safer than crying. At one point Dana walked by, glanced at the screen, and said, you're building a case file. I guess I am. She nodded. Good, you'll need it. That afternoon my mom called again. I didn't pick up the set. I scrolled through a last text. She had sent me a meme once, a cartoon of a woman crying into a wine glass with the caption, when your eggs are aging, and so are your standards. Had 3 laughing emojis, no context, just that. At the time I'd sent back half route, she'd replied, you know I'm joking, love you. I believed her now. I didn't know if I did. Mark hadn't texted again. But I found myself reading our old messages, trying to pinpoint when the teasing started. Maybe it had always been there early on. It was small things. The time I tripped on a sidewalk crack, and he said, good thing you're pretty. The time I cried watching a commercial, and he said, God, you're walking hormone. The time I bought a new outfit, and he said, for effort. The time I told him I wanted to try writing a novel, and he said, why, we already have enough struggling authors. And every time I said something he'd grin and go, relax, I'm just messing with you. So I relaxed, or tried to. And I slowly stopped sharing my wins because they become punchlines. I stopped trying new things because they become material. I stopped dreaming out loud. I just stopped. The last thing I added to my note that night was, I used to think love was about finding someone who gets your humor. No, I think it's about finding someone who never makes you feel like the joke. I didn't know what I was going to do next, but I knew I couldn't go back. And for the first time in years, that thought didn't terrify me. That felt like freedom. I told Mark I'd be coming by to get my things, just some essentials, laptop, charger, notebooks, the good blanket he always borrowed and never folded. He didn't ask questions, just said it'll be here. When I pulled into the driveway, the porch light was on the lawn, looked slightly overgrown, which surprised me. He was usually obsessive about trimming the edges for some reason that made me feel better, like I wasn't the only one falling apart. Mark opened the door before I knocked. He smiled like we were picking up dinner, not picking through the ruins of our marriage. I'm glad you came back, he said. I didn't come back, I replied. I just came to pack. He stepped aside. I walked in. The house smelled like takeout in some kind of new air freshener, fake lavender, something, trying too hard to feel normal. I went straight to the bedroom. My duffel bag was already on the bed, unzipped like he thought I might stay. I didn't. You don't have to do this, he said from the doorway. They didn't mean anything by it. My mom laughs like that all the time. I wasn't talking about your mom, I said, folding a sweater. He tried again. I mean, yeah, maybe the joke landed wrong. But everyone was drinking. It was a party. I looked up. Mark, it wasn't just the baby shower. It's every time. He frowned. Every time what you make me. The joke. He opened his mouth, closed it again, then smiled like this was a test. Hey, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have laughed. I love you. Do you? He blinked. Of course I do. Then why does it always feel like I'm auditioning for a part one already? Have he rubbed the back of his neck? What are you talking about? IPA. Hold my phone from my purse and open the notes app. I made a list. I started reading. Come steady. No fear tracks. Thanksgiving 2018. You told your cousin I don't cook. I assemble. New Year's 2019. You introduced me as your emotional support wife. Had your off his party. Valentine's Day 2020. You gave me a card that said you're still the weirdest girl I know. Don't ever change, but maybe do. He laughed under his breath, then stopped. When I looked up, you kept track of all this. I stopped pretending it didn't matter, I said. He shook his head. He was all in good fun. That's just how we are. You give it right back. I stared at him. When he didn't have an answer, he crossed his arms instead. So what now? I'm the villain just because I don't sugarcoat everything? No, I said. You're not the villain. You just the echo. He squinted. The echo of every joke my family made about me. You fit right in because I was trained to find that comfortable. I thought teasing was love because that's all I knew. You silence, then his voice quieter. You never said any of this. I didn't know how to name it until now. My phone buzzed. I checked the screen. Group chat. Haley had posted a photo from the baby shower. Me frozen mid-smile, holding a paper plate. The caption said, "At least some of us." And take a joke. I put the phone down, didn't reply. Is that what this is about? Mark said, gesturing at my phone. Some caption, some meme. This is about you thinking the only way to connect with me is through sarcasm, I said, and me thinking that meant I mattered. He looked genuinely stunned. I pulled an envelope from my bag. Not thick, not final, just the beginning. What's that? He asked. Separation agreement. He didn't take it. I'm not staying married to someone who laughs when I'm humiliated. I'm not doing it anymore. Mark, this is crazy. No, I said. Crazy is staying. I sipped the duffel bag, slung it over my shoulder. Mark followed me to the front door. So what now? You're just going to be alone? I looked back at him. I already was. As I stepped outside, my phone buzzed again. A message from my mom. Can we all just move on? Haley's hormonal. You too sensitive. Everyone's exhausted. A screenshot had it, added it to the folder. I titled Reasons I Left Before I Drove Away. I opened the family group chat for the first time and Days typed. To be clear, I'm not overreacting. I'm just done performing. Then I hit leave group. The next day, I signed a lease on a small one-bedroom with creaky force. Too much light. It wasn't perfect, but it was mine. That night, while unpacking my books, someone knocked on the door. I looked through the people. Who is my mom? I didn't open it. She called through the door. Nina, I know you're in there. This has gone far enough. I opened the door halfway. She gasped a little when she saw me. You look thin. I'm fine. I'm worried about you. No, you're worried about appearances. Her face twitched. You're breaking this family apart. I held the door a little wider. No, I said, I'm breaking the pattern. She flinched. I waited. You think you're better than us now? She snapped. No, I said, I think I'm finally learning. I deserve better. Then I closed the door. No slamming, just a click inside. I sat down on the floor next to a half-unpacked box. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I didn't second guess. I just sat there and breathed. Not everyone will understand this feeling, but when you live your whole life twisting yourself into the shape that other people find funny, stepping out of that shape feel Like freedom, even if it's lonely at first, even if it's quiet. I was alone, but I was free. And that felt like a start. Mark didn't reply right away when I left, not after the folder, not after I calmly laid out every insult, every moment of public humiliation dressed up as humor. I thought maybe he finally got the message. But I should have known better, because 2 days later I started getting messages again, this time from my mom. He says he's sorry, maybe you were too emotional. It's just who he is, Nina. Don't throw your marriage away over a tone. That's how she described what happened, like he didn't flat out humiliate me in front of a room full of people, including her, like it was a misinterpreted email or misplaced karma. Then Haley jumped in. I guess they couldn't resist trying a group effort. You were the one who brought trauma to my baby shower. We're having fun, Nina. You took it too far. Just laugh it off like everyone else, like I hadn't spent my entire life laughing it off. Laughing while they tore me down, laughing while they made me the punchline law. Laughing until I forgot what real joy even sounded like. That was the final line in Haley's message. Used to know how to take a joke. I didn't reply. I just set my phone down and walked outside barefoot into the cold, just to feel the air on my face. And then I did something that changed everything. I posted a message in the family group chat. You're right. I used to laugh. I used to take it. I used to believe that if I could be the cool one, the easy one, the one who didn't make waves, maybe one day you'd love me the way you love Haley. But I don't need that anymore. I don't need your version of love. I don't need your version of family. I'm done. And I left the group. Not even 5 minutes later, my mom called. I let it go to voicemail. Mark tried again. To this time, he left a long message for minutes and 37 seconds of guilt, excuses, and finally panic. You're just going to walk away from everything from me. You don't even care about the vows we made. You've always been dramatic. This is just another meltdown. You'll calm down. And then this line: if you divorce me, you'll be proving them right. Them, my family, his family, everyone who laughed at me and called it love. I didn't respond. Instead, I packed up the most of my things from our house and moved into a temporary sublet across town. I paid the rent in full upfront and gave my lawyer the go-ahead to prepare the actual divorce paperwork. That's when things escalated, because they didn't take the hint. Mark showed up outside my building, bust every apartment until someone let him in. I found him waiting outside my door holding flowers. Nina, he said, like we were in some sad movie. Come on, you proved your point. You made your little scene. But this isn't you. I think it is. I said. You just never bothered to see it. He stepped closer. So that's it. 10 years down the drain. No. I said 10 years down the drain is what would have happened if I stayed. He grabbed my arm, not hard, but firmly. I'm not letting you throw this away. I pulled back. Then you're not hearing me. That night, I called my lawyer and asked her to finalize the paperwork as soon as legally possible. I signed everything 2 days later. Most notorious nation, one Zoom call, a stack of documents done or so. I thought because my mother decided to have one more go at me, she showed up at my door with a Tupperware of stew and a speech about how family is complicated and you're overreacting and you'll regret being so called. One day I let her talk, and then I asked why. Question: would you have laughed if it were Healy they were mocking? She blinked, didn't answer. That's what I thought. I said, please don't come here again. She left the Tupperware on my front step and walked away. I didn't eat it. The divorce was finalized a few weeks later. I didn't make a post.